Listen to me. It's time to wake up. You've been sleeping on your potential. You've been hitting the snooze button on your purpose. You've been waiting for the right time, the perfect moment, the clear sign. But let me tell you something. That moment is now. You've been hitting snooze on your life, not just on your alarm clock. Every day you wake up with big dreams, big ideas, and massive potential. But the moment things get uncomfortable, you tap that mental snooze button and say, I'll start tomorrow. But here's the truth. Tomorrow is not promised. Tomorrow doesn't care about your goals. Tomorrow doesn't feel sorry for your laziness. While you're putting your greatness on hold, life is moving. Opportunities are passing, time is slipping. And guess what? Someone out there with half your talent and twice your hunger is taking your spot. You were born with purpose. There's something in you that the world needs. You weren't just put here to exist, to pay bills, to scroll endlessly, and to die with dreams still trapped inside you. But you keep sleeping on your gift. You keep delaying your mission. You keep acting like you've got forever. You don't. That voice inside you, the one that whispers in quiet moments, the one that screams when you try to settle, that's not random. That's your calling. And you've been silencing it with distraction, with comfort, with excuses. You've been sedating your future with habits that numb your ambition. Comfort is the enemy of growth. And you've gotten too comfortable being average, too comfortable saying a someday, too comfortable hanging around people who don't challenge you, too comfortable doing just enough to survive. But survival is not the same as living. You've got a fire in you, but you've buried it under comfort, fear, and doubt. You've convinced yourself that you're waiting for the right time, but the right time never comes. The stars don't align. The perfect moment doesn't show up with a VIP invite. You either move now or you stay stuck. The only difference between a dreamer and a doer is action, and you've been dreaming long enough. Wake up and recognize what you're wasting. Time is your most valuable asset, and every minute you spend procrastinating is a minute you'll never get back. Every time you choose to sleep in, to push things off, to say a not yet, you're choosing to lose. You're choosing regret over progress. Because when it's all said and done, you won't remember the comfort. You'll remember the chances you didn't take, the moments you let fear win. The days you had the energy, the ability, the resources, but lacked the will. You'll remember what you could have been if only you had started. You were meant to move. You were designed to create, to stretch, to push past limits. But here you are, repeating routines that don't serve you. Telling yourself you'll start that business next week. You'll get in shape next month. You'll fix your life after things settle down. Life never settles. There will always be problems. There will always be noise. But your destiny doesn't wait. And the longer you delay, the further you drift from the person you were born to be. There are people counting on your potential, people whose lives could change if you would just wake up. Your family, your community, maybe even the world is waiting for what you've been sleeping on. That book, that invention, that business, that vision. It's not just about you. You've been given a gift, and gifts are meant to be used, not buried under comfort and doubt. But gifts expire. Potential dies unused, and time doesn't pause for your procrastination. It's time to confront the truth. The reason you haven't moved isn't because you don't know what to do. It's not because you don't have enough time or money or support. It's because you've made peace with mediocrity. You've gotten used to playing small. You've been more committed to your comfort zone than to your calling. You keep letting fear make your decisions. You keep negotiating with your excuses. You keep telling yourself it's okay to wait. But it's not okay. You're not okay with it. Not deep down. That frustration you feel, that restlessness, that tension, it's your potential trying to shake you awake. It's the version of you that's been locked inside, screaming to get out. You know what you're capable of. You've had glimpses. You've seen flashes of what your life could look like if you went all in. But instead of building momentum, you build distractions. You scroll, you binge, you gossip. You waste time that could be used to change everything. You need to stop treating your purpose like a side project. You need to stop postponing your power. The clock is ticking whether you move or not. The world doesn't stop spinning because you're stuck. You've got to snap out of it. You've got to open your eyes and face the reality. You're either building your dream or you're watching it die. Success doesn't come easy. It doesn't show up at your front door with a bow on it. It doesn't respond to wishes, daydreams, or half-hearted effort. Success respects only one thing: work. Consistent, relentless, disciplined work. every single day. That's why it's rented, not owned. And the rent is due daily, not weekly, not when you feel motivated, not when everything is going your way, daily. Every time you choose to hit that alarm and get to work, you're paying the rent. Every time you choose to grind instead of complain, to rise instead of retreat, to sacrifice instead of settle, you're paying the rent. The people who make it, the ones you admire, the ones living at the top of their game, they don't have some magic formula. They just decided they were going to show up every single day no matter what. They made success a non-negotiable. You see the results, the achievements, the lifestyle, but what you don't see is the grind behind closed doors. The late nights, the early mornings, the sacrifice, the failures, the pressure, the discipline, the pain. That's what pays the rent. Not the talking, not the dreaming. The doing. You can't rent success with yesterday's effort. It doesn't roll over. You've got to keep earning it. You've got to develop a mindset that says, I show up no matter what. Tired, show up. Broke, show up. Alone, show up. Discouraged, still show up. You don't feel like it? That's irrelevant because the rent is still due. If you only work when it's easy, you'll only get average results. If you only grind when the conditions are perfect, you'll never make it past the starting line. The difference between the successful and the unsuccessful isn't talent, it's consistency. It's the refusal to quit. It's the mindset that says, I may not be the most gifted, but I will not be outworked. Too many people think success is a straight line. They think you set a goal, make a plan, take some action, and boom, results. No, success is a war. It's a battlefield. It's full of setbacks, rejections, distractions, and doubts. And if you don't have the discipline to keep showing up, to keep paying the rent, to keep fighting when you're exhausted and invisible and misunderstood, you'll fold. Because success doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't care if you're having a bad day. It doesn't slow down for your excuses. It keeps moving. And if you want to catch it, you've got to move too. Every breakthrough is built on a pile of breakdowns. Every champion was once a contender who refused to give up. Every strong structure you see start with laying one brick, then another, and another, every single day. It's not glamorous. It's not always exciting, but it works. That's how success is earned. Brick by brick, day by day, effort over time. But you can't cheat the grind. Obviously, go buy your way to the top with shortcuts or hacks. You got to climb. And every rung of that ladder costs something. Time, energy, focus, and most of all, sacrifice. Sacrifice is the silent partner of success. You don't get to keep your comfort zone and have greatness at the same time. You don't get to sleep in and rise up. You don't get to waste time and still win. You've got to choose. You've got to be willing to trade what you want now for what you want most. You've got to delay gratification, endure hardship, and stay focused when everything around you is trying to pull you off course. That's what separates the winners from the wishers. Winners understand that consistency beats intensity every time. You don't need to do everything in one day. You just need to do something every day. But understand this, you are either paying the rent or paying the price. There is no neutral. If you're not putting in the work, you're falling behind. If you're not investing in your dream, you're letting it decay. Every choice you make is either pushing you closer to success or pulling you further away. And the tragedy is, most people don't fail because they lack the ability. They fail because they lack the will to keep going when it's tough, to keep building when no one's watching, to keep believing when there's no evidence yet. That's what paying the rent means. It means doing it when no one claps. When there's no applause, no validation, just your own inner standard pushing you to keep going. Discipline doesn't always feel good in the moment, but it feels like freedom later. And if you can learn to love the process, to fall in love with the grind, to take pride in your work ethic more than just the outcome, then success will come, not because you chased it, but because you became the kind of person it can't ignore. You attract success by who you become, and who you become is shaped by what you do daily. So the question isn't whether you're capable. The question is, are you willing to pay the rent every single day without skipping? Because success is waiting, but it won't wait forever. Stop blaming your circumstances. Stop pointing fingers. Stop pointing fingers. Stop looking for someone or something to hold responsible for where you are in life. Take full responsibility, not partial, not shared, not delayed. Own it all. Own the wins, own the losses, own the habits, the choices, the mindset that brought you here. Because the moment you take responsibility is the moment you take your power back. As long as you blame someone else, you give them control over your life. And the truth is, most people will never reach their full potential, not because they aren't capable, but because they spend their lives waiting for someone else to fix it. You say you're stuck. You say you're tired. You say life hasn't been fair. And maybe that's all true, but it's not a reason to stop. It's not an excuse to quit. Life isn't fair. It never was. Some people started ahead. Some had better guidance, more resources, more support. But guess what? Fairness doesn't determine your future. Your response does. Your reaction to the struggle, to the setback, to the pain, that's what shapes your destiny. You can't control what happens to you, but you can always control how you respond. That's the responsibility you have. That's the weight of greatness. It demands that you stop waiting for rescue and start building your own ladder. Every day you blame something external, a boss, a parent, a partner, a system. You're giving away your ability to change. You're handing off the steering wheel of your life and sitting in the passenger seat, hoping someone else will drive you to your dream. That's not how it works. No one's coming. No one's going to hand you the life you want. And if they did, you wouldn't respect it. You respect what you build. You respect what you sweat for, what you cry for, what you bleed for. Responsibility is not a burden. It's your ticket to freedom. It's the foundation of transformation. When you say, it's on me, everything changes. You stop waiting for permission. You stop hoping things will just magically improve. You start doing the work. You stop asking, why me? And start asking, what now? Because winners don't focus on blame. They focus on solutions. They look in the mirror and ask the hard questions. Am I disciplined enough? Am I putting in the effort? Am I consistent? Am I becoming better or just complaining louder? Those are the questions that unlock growth. But most people are afraid to ask because deep down they know the truth. They haven't been doing everything they could. Excuses are comfortable. Excuses protect the ego. They make you feel better about staying the same, but they don't change anything. They don't move the needle. They don't build results. You can't make progress and make excuses at the same time. You've got to choose full. And when you finally get tired of hearing your own excuses, when you finally get sick of the same cycle, start, stop, blame, repeat. That's when you grow. That's when something shifts. Responsibility is the trigger that turns potential into power. You've got dreams. You've got vision. Oh, but dreams without ownership are just fantasies. Vision without responsibility is just a nice idea. Nothing becomes real until you take full control of your action, your mindset, your time, your energy. Are you where you want to be? No. Then what are you going about it? Not what are they going to do? Not what should have happened. What are you going to do? Because once you answer that, you stop reacting to life and start creating it. You stop waiting and start leading. It's not just about big moves. Responsibility shows up in the small things. Showing up on time, keeping promises to yourself, finishing what you start, doing what you said you do long after the mood you set it in is gone. That's where real strength is built. Not when everything's exciting, not when it's easy, but when it's mundane, when it's inconvenient, when it's lonely. That's when you prove you're ready for more. That's when life starts to trust you with more. You've been given gifts, time, talent, opportunity, maybe not as much as the next person, but you got enough to get started. And if you don't use them, that's on you. Life doesn't reward the talented. It rewards the responsible. It rewards the person who shows up even when no one's watching. The one who built one but in silence. The one who doesn't need praise to keep pushing. When you take responsibility, you stop needing motivation. You move from emotion to execution. You stop waiting to feel like it and start acting like it. People will try to convince you that it's not your fault, that your pain is valid, that your anger is justified. Maybe it is. But holding on to that pain won't push you forward. Replaying your past won't build your future. At some point, you've got to say, if this happened, I didn't like it. But I'm not staying here. I'm not letting it define me. That's what taking responsibility sounds like. It's not about denying your struggle. It's about not giving it permission to hold you hostage. You've got the power to change your life the moment you stop giving that power away. Every excuse you make is another chain you wrap around your own progress. Every time you blame someone else, you reinforce your own limits. But every time you say and no more, every time you decide to own your actions, your habits, your grind, you get one step closer to the life you were meant for. That power's been in you the whole time. It's just been buried under blame, covered by comfort, and protected by pride. Responsibility digs it out. It uncovers what's been waiting to rise. Pain is part of the process. That's not a motivational slogan, it's a law. If you want to grow, if you want to rise, if you want to become something greater than what you are right now, you're going to have to go through pain, not just once, not just in the beginning, over and over again, because growth hurts, progress hurts. The uncomfortable truth is that every level of your life will demand a new version of you, and the process of becoming that version will stretch you in ways that aren't fun, aren't easy, and definitely aren't comfortable. Most people run from pain. They try to avoid discomfort. They try to live in a space where everything feels good, where nothing hurts, where every step is smooth. But that space doesn't produce greatness. That space produces stagnation. If you never get uncomfortable, you never get better. You don't build muscles by lifting what's easy. You build them by lifting what's heavy, what challenges you, what breaks you down so that you can build back stronger. The same rule applies to your character, your mindset, your discipline. Pain is not punishment, it's preparation. Pressure is what reveals who you really are. Well, it strips away the surface and exposes your core. And for some of you, that's what's been missing. You've never allowed yourself to be pushed past your limits. You've avoided the struggle because it didn't feel good. But success doesn't feel good all the time. In fact, most of the path to success feels like sacrifice. It feels like waking up tired and doing it anyway. It feels like giving your best and still not seeing results yet. It feels like discipline when you'd rather take a break. That's the price. That's the pain that forges purpose. There's no growth in the comfort zone. There's no transformation in the easy road. Pain is the teacher that success leads to. It's through pain that you discover your strength, your hunger, your resilience. When everything is going right, you don't grow. You enjoy, you move. But when it falls apart, when things go sideways, when you're tired, frustrated, defeated, that's when you grow. That's when something in you gets activated. Pain introduces you to yourself. It shows you what you're made of. It either breaks you or builds you, depending on how you respond to it. Whoa. You've been taught to run from discomfort, to fear failure, to avoid rejection, to see obstacles as a sign to stop. But the truth is, those are the exact moments that separate the average from the unstoppable. When you push through pain, you gain power. Not just physical strength, but mental toughness, emotional resilience, spiritual maturity. You become sharper, stronger, more focused. The pain you endure today builds the strength you need for tomorrow's battle. It's the preparation ground for your purpose. Without that process, you won't be ready for what you're asking for. You say you want success, but are you willing to endure the pain that comes with it? You say you want to level up, but do you understand that leveling up means letting go of your excuses, your comfort, your bad habits, and stepping into a version of yourself that doesn't flinch under pressure? That version of you doesn't come from ease. It comes from enduring, from staying the course when quitting would be easier, from walking through fire without backing down. That's where greatness is built, in the heat of pressure, in the silence of sacrifice, in the moments when no one is watching, and you choose to keep going anyway. You don't get to the top without scars. You don't reach your peak without wounds. But those wounds become wisdom. Those scars tell stories of survival, of grit, of determination. They remind you that you've been through the fire and you didn't fold, you didn't break. Or maybe you did break, but you rebuilt. You kept going. That's the kind of pain that refines you, not ruins you. You've got to stop thinking of pain as the enemy and start seeing it as a part of the journey. Every time it hurts, it's shaping you. Oh, every time you're challenged, you're being chiseled into something greater. It's easy to be excited when everything's going well. It's easy to feel motivated when you're seeing progress. But what about when it's dark? What about when you're alone, when no one believes in you, when your efforts feel invisible? That's where the real work happens. That's when the pain hits the hardest. And if you can keep going then, if you can keep pushing when nothing makes sense and everything inside you says to stop, then you've tapped into something unshakable. Then you've developed the kind of discipline that can't be broken by circumstance. There's a difference between people who dabble and people who dominate. The ones who dominate aren't more talented, they're just more committed. They've made peace with the pain. They've accepted that the path won't be smooth, but they've chosen to walk it anyway. They've trained their mind to find purpose in the pressure, to find focus in the fight. They don't expect it to be easy. They expect it to be worth it. They've decided that their goals mean more than their comfort. And every step they take through pain becomes a step closer to power. Your circle matters. The people you surround yourself with shape your mindset, your habit, your beliefs, and ultimately your results. If you're serious about elevating your life, about building something real, then you got to get serious about who's standing next to you, because energy is contagious. Attitudes are contagious. Discipline is contagious. But so is laziness, negativity, and mediocrity. You can't soar like an eagle if you're hanging around pigeons. You can't talk about vision with people who only see limits. You can't keep your fire lit if you're surrounded by people who are constantly throwing water on your dream. Every day you're being influenced by the conversations you're having, the environments you're in, the standards of the people around you. And if you don't consciously choose your circle, you'll unconsciously inherit one that pulls you backward. Look around on who's really adding to your life. Who's challenging you to grow? Who's holding you accountable? Who's pushing you to do more, be more, rise higher? If the answer is a no one, then you've already got your answer. You need to upgrade your circle, because the truth is you don't rise to your goals. You rise to the expectations of your environment. Sometimes that means letting people go, not out of hate, not out of pride, out of necessity. You don't have to hate someone to outgrow them. Some people are part of your history, but they don't fit into your destiny. You can't keep dragging dead weight and expect to climb. You've got to travel light if you want to move fast. And that means being brave enough to say, I love you, but I can't stay here with you, but I can't stay here with you. I'm going somewhere you're not willing to go. It hurts. It's uncomfortable, but growth always costs something. And one of the first prices you'll pay is comfort in relationships that no longer align. You need to be around people who make excellence normal, people who don't let you slack. Don't let you slack. People who tell you the truth even when it stings. People who won't let you quit on yourself. That's love, that's support, that's power. And if everyone in your circle is comfortable with mediocrity, you will be too. If they laugh at effort, downplay ambition, roll their eyes when you talk about goals, you're in the wrong room. You need people who look at your potential and say, oh, let's get it. Not people who make you feel guilty for wanting more. You're not arrogant for believing you were made for greatness. You're aware, but you've got to protect that awareness from people who are addicted to average. Iron sharpens iron. That means you've got to be around people who are sharp, who are disciplined, who are hungry, who are doing the work. People who call you higher just by how they live. You can't grow in an environment that celebrates your comfort zone. You need tension. You need accountability. You need someone to say, that's not good enough. You can do better. Not because they want to tear you down, but because they refuse to let you stay small. Growth doesn't happen in silence. It happens in challenge. And the right circle will challenge you daily. Think about your conversations. Are you talking about ideas, strategies, visions, or just gossip, complaints, and distractions? What you talk about is a reflection of where you're headed. If your circle isn't stretching your thinking, expanding your perspective, raising your standards, then you're not in a circle. You're in a cage. One that keeps you locked into who you've always been instead of unlocking who you could become. The people around you should feel like mirrors and fuel. Mirrors to reflect your flaws with love, and fuel to keep your fire burning when it gets low. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do for your future is walk away from anything that's holding you back. That includes habits, environments, and people. It doesn't mean you think you're better than anyone. It means you've decided to be better than who you were yesterday. That's not arrogance, that's evolution. And your future self will thank you for the hard decisions you made today. Because the truth is, your destiny is too important to be delayed by dead conversations, energy-draining relationships, and environments that no longer feed your purpose. Surround yourself with believers, with builders, with grinders, with doers, with visionaries, with people who see the greatness in you, even when you can't see it in yourself. People who remind you of your why when your how feels impossible. People who bring solutions, not more problems. Who bring focus, not distraction. Who bring energy, not drama. That kind of circle doesn't just support your dreams, they multiply them. They help you stay locked in. They help you stay hungry. Because in the right circle, success isn't optional, it's expected. You are not meant to do this journey alone, But you're also not meant to carry everyone with you. Learn to discern who belongs in your life and who belongs in your memory. Some people are seasonal, some are assignments, some are lessons, and some are lifers. Don't confuse the categories. If someone drains you every time you talk to them, that's not love, that's a leak, and leaks sink ships. Protect your energy like your life depends on it, because it does. Your mental energy, your emotional health, your spiritual clarity, all of it is influenced by the people around you. When you find that circle that aligns with your vision, guard it, nurture it, show up for it because it's red. And when you're in the right environment, you don't just survive, you thrive. You don't just dream, you execute. You don't just talk, you build. Your circle can either be your cage or your catalyst. Choose wisely. Consistency is the bridge between goals and achievement. It's the difference between starting strong and finishing strong. It's the quiet force that builds momentum when no one's watching. Everybody wants success, but very few are willing to show up day after day when it's boring, when it's hard, when there's no applause. That's what consistency demands. Not hype, not motivation, discipline. Showing up when you don't feel like it. Doing the work when your emotions say stop. Being faithful to the process even when the results haven't shown up yet. That's where real power is built, not in the moments of inspiration, but in the moments of repetition. In the moments of repetition. You don't rise by doing something once. You rise by doing it again and again until it becomes part of who you are. Anyone can grind for a day. Anyone can post one win, one highlight, one impressive moment, but success is not built on moments. It's built on habits. What do you do daily? What do you do when it's raining, when it's cold, when life throws distractions in your face? That's the test. That's the proof of commitment. Your future isn't determined by what you do occasionally. It's shaped by what you do consistently. Consistency doesn't mean perfection. It means persistence. You'll fall off. You'll mess up. You'll have days where you don't feel it. That's normal, but consistency means getting back up. It means not letting a bad day turn into a bad week into a bad month. You don't let setbacks define your identity. You realign, refocus, and keep pushing. Because the people who make it to the top aren't the ones who never fail. They're the ones who refuse to stay down. They built discipline like a muscle. They learned to keep their word to themselves. That's what consistency really is. Keeping the promises you make when no one else would know if you broke them. It's easy to chase big moments, to wait for the spark, to rely on motivation. But that mindset will fail you the moment the fire fades, and it always fades. Real consistency is about building a fire that doesn't depend on the weather. It's about becoming the kind of person who works regardless of the conditions, because conditions don't build champions, conviction does. Consistency means you stop negotiating with your goals. You stop giving yourself a way out. You remove the option to quit. You do what needs to be done, not when it's convenient, but because it's necessary. Think about compound interest. That's how consistency works. Small actions done daily that stack up over time. 1 hour today doesn't look like much. One workout, one page, one choice. But stack that over months, over years, and you build something unbreakable. Most people never get there because they quit too soon. They want to plant a seed and eat the fruit in the same season. But real success doesn't work that way. It takes time. It takes patience. It takes grind. And most importantly, it takes consistency. The boring, unglamorous, invisible kind that no one claps for. Your body responds to consistency. Your mind responds to consistency. Your results are a reflection of how consistent you've been. If you're not where you want to be, ask yourself, what have you been consistent in? Because you've been consistent in something. Maybe it's in making excuses. Maybe it's in skipping the hard stuff. Maybe it's in starting and stopping. That's a form of consistency too. But if you want to change your outcome, you've got to change your rhythm. Shift the habits. Make it your standard to show up regardless of how you feel. The more you do that, the more you hardwire success into your system. The grind doesn't reward talent alone. It rewards endurance. It rewards repetition. It rewards the person who does it right when nobody's checking. The one who writes when no one's reading. The one who trains when no one's watching. The one who prepares like the opportunity is already here. Because eventually it will be, and only the consistent will be ready. Everybody else will wish they had started earlier. Everybody else will blame the timing, the system, the world. But the consistent ones won't need to make excuses. Their results will speak for them. Consistency is about stacking wins, even if they're small. A small win today, another tomorrow. Over time, those wins rewrite your identity. You start to believe in yourself, not because someone told you to, but because you got proof, you got receipts, you've shown up, you've done a work. That builds confidence, not just in what you can do, but in who you are. That's the kind of confidence nobody can take from you because it's been earned through sweat, sacrifice, and staying power. You don't need to be the most talented. You don't need to have the best start. You just need to be relentless. You need to stop stopping. You need to stop starting over. You need to decide that you're going to keep going, even if the progress is slow, even if the path is uphill. Because consistency is not just about success. It's about character. It shapes who you become. Every rep, every early morning, every hour spent in focus, it's all adding up. Even when it feels like nothing's changing, something is being built in the background. You just have to keep showing up.